Hey folks, welcome back to Smart Simple Fit. My name is Davin, and today we're going to be discussing my home gym setup. To be honest, it ain't much, but I've been able to reap some sick gains out of it. So I'd like to help you guys understand what types of equipment are probably the most practical to look for a home gym setup. And also we're going to discuss the prices a little bit, talk about my experience, timeline of getting this stuff. But before we jump into it, full disclosure, I also have a gym membership.
So you are a hypocrite.
Maybe this video will inspire you to start building your home gym so you can start reaping some sick gains without having to worry about being dependent on a gym membership. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I've been building my home gym for right around 2 years now, right around 2 years. Technically, this actually dates back years before that to when I was in high school. I bought my first bench press and my first few pairs of dumbbells, like 15, 20-pound dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells, things like that. So technically, I've been accumulating these things over the better part of, I would say, around a decade, but a lot of it is more recent. And I think that if you have a decent sized budget, you could put this together in a relatively short period of time. Most of the weight that I have to work with, especially for my barbells, the plates, most of that, or a good portion of that weight is actually stuff that I've picked up in the last couple of years. My squat rack I've had for less than 2 years now. But I've been relying mostly on a home gym setup for the better part of 2 years now. That's the best way I could phrase it. And I have to say, I haven't exactly been let down by my home gym. There was actually a period of time where I was trying to do squats without a squat rack. It was rather sketchy. I don't recommend that you do this. I would literally put my barbell on my bench press. I would lower the bench to the decline bench setting, and I would just squat down and pick it up. It was super awkward. And when it got to the point where I was trying to do like over 2 plates for reps, it was real sketchy. So putting it back, getting it off wasn't so bad, but putting it back on, like stepping my leg over the bench, was real sketchy. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys any footage of this or trying to like recreate it, but it's a terrible idea. I do not suggest that you do that in the slightest. I suggest that you go out, get yourself a decent squat rack. The one that I have cost me around $200 Canadian, so probably like, I don't know, $150 US would be roughly the equivalent, something like that. And that thing's rated to hold like over 600 pounds. So chances are the cheap squat rack that I have currently is going to far exceed the needs that I'm ever going to place on it. So I'm very happy with the squat rack purchase. It's not great, it's not like glamorous, but it works. The adjustable heights allow me to get it to a height that works well for me. The fact that I have little plate trees sticking out of it means I can put lots of weight on it, so that's always nice. Yeah, overall, you can keep it very simple with a squat rack. So I'll just start listing off some of the equipment that I have, tell you guys a little bit about it. At this current time, I have several pairs of dumbbells, a bench press, a squat rack, a chin-up bar, some lifting straps, a medicine ball. I have a single barbell, non-Olympic, so just a standard 1 inch. I have a pair of adjustable dumbbells, the kind that you put the plates on, also 1 inch. I have a fair bit of deadlift mats. I'm not sure how many squares I have. I might have a dozen, something like that. A dozen deadlift squares, so it can be used as a deadlift mat. I have barbell clips. By and large, that's the bulk of my exercise equipment. So it comes down to plates, dumbbells, the barbell, the bench press, the squat rack, the deadlift mats, the straps, and the chin-up bar. That's really the bulk of it. The 8-pound medicine ball, I don't really use very much. I've done some core work with it in the past. I picked it up when I was like desperately looking for weight to lift during the pandemic at the start. I didn't have much to go off of, and as you guys remember, panic buying was a huge thing at the start of the pandemic. So I just bought that thing just to have something to lift. I don't know what I had in mind originally, doing like shoulder presses with it, but yeah, I've done a little bit of core work with it. I think of all the home gym equipment, yeah, that is the one that by far gets the least use, and it's the one that I would recommend the least. As far as the dumbbells go, the 5s, 10s, 15s, 20s, 30s, 35s, and now I just have a single single 40-pound dumbbell. Those get quite a bit of use. I use them for like warming up for bench press, warming up for squats. Sometimes I'll do biceps curls with them, lateral raises. Over the years, I've done a lot of biceps curls and lateral raises with my dumbbells. So it's been nice to have those. I'm looking to hopefully pick up a second 40-pound dumbbell soon so I can do some curls and stuff like that with them. That would be really nice to have two and not just one. Like I said, the bench press I've had since high school, and it's kind of cheap. And it's skinny. It's too high. Like I have fairly long legs, and like I have a hard time putting my foot flat down when I'm on the bench. So, if there's anything I could recommend when it comes to getting a bench, maybe if you can get one that's on the shorter side and the wider side, that tends to lend itself to A, better stability, and B, more comfort as far as like getting your foot flat on the ground. You don't have to bench with your feet flat, especially if you're someone who uses a lot of leg drive. Not something I recommend personally for bench press, but either way, yeah, that's you're gonna want a bench that's not at a goofy height for you. You want something that works. Can you put your feet on plates and things like that? Yes, but it feels goofy to do that. So just get a bench that makes sense for you. And the wider it is, the more stable it's going to be. Having a skinny bench just doesn't feel good, especially for more unstable exercises like a dumbbell bench, or maybe if you're doing Larson press or something like that. It's not going to feel as good, not as stable. It's not going to feel as stable anyway. But this thing has held up really well over the years. I'm pretty sure the max weight for both the barbell that I use and the bench press is somewhere around 200 pounds, and it's definitely exceeded that in the past. So it's taken a little bit of a beating. I think one of the support bars on the actual bench itself is just snapped off, like the screw just won't go back in, or I lost the screw. But despite the fact that it's kind of broken and beat up, it's safe enough to use. It's just that if you lean weight to one side, it just kind of tilts. So despite all the years of use and abuse, definitely I've abused it over the years, it's held up really nicely. And I remember at the time when I bought it, I mean, this was probably about a decade ago, but that thing only cost like $70. So that's really good. And this is one of those bench presses, again, where the rack is built into it. So you can set it back. Now, I will say the thing that sucks the most about my bench press, well, two things. The hooks, they're not like a J hook shape. They're like these big, ugly circles that stick out. So there's not a lot of room for your hand. And then the actual like rack supports are kind of in like exactly the wrong spot. Like they should be a bit wider, in my opinion, maybe closer. But they just feel like they're in exactly the wrong spot. Because anyone who uses that bench, whether it's me or whoever, feels like you're forced to either do like a rather wide grip bench, and if you try and do close, it's like ridiculously close. Like a lot of people's close grip bench is like this. This would force you to do something like this, and then the width is going to go out here. That's not super wide, but if you're someone who doesn't normally train wide grip bench, it feels really awkward. I've just gotten used to doing it outside the hooks, more of like a wide grip. And again, because of the weird circle thing, it's like you have to push it extra hard and some extra far. You have to push it out extra far, and sometimes I've actually like clipped my hand or like my thumb on it and like taken some skin off. So yeah, if you've got a bench that has like a goofy setup like that, make sure you don't clip your hands. So watch where your hands are going. Now the squat rack is really nice because the thing is, guys, about getting a squat rack, this is going to allow you to do your overhead press and squat variations together. Often you'll find that squatting and doing overhead press is the same height. So getting under that bar is the same thing as getting under that bar to put it on your traps, or even like a front squat, things like that, low bar. So that's one of the things that's extremely convenient, is being able to set up a nice heavy weight for shoulder press variations and also front squats, back squats, you name it. And then actually the squat rack that I have has a set of J hooks on it. So I could use it for bench pressing. I just don't feel like it because I'd have to awkwardly get the wrong end of my bench through it. And I might have to pick up another bench if I wanted to do that in the future. I might do that in the future. That might be a better idea. Especially as my bench press continues to deteriorate over the years. But nonetheless, I get a lot of good use out of my bench. And squat rack that I have, you got to watch it with the two-piece ones, that you don't like clip your feet on them. But otherwise, it's pretty good and stable. And if you're putting some weight on it, on like the plate trees, if you put 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, it should hold just fine. Guys, when you put away the weight, you're not trying to run into the rack, right? Don't just ram it. Actually put it down reasonably gracefully. Okay, you don't have to like be too gingerly about it, but so the fact that it's not like a half cage or a full cage, that's not going to make a huge difference, guys. Now, the chin-up bar that I have is interesting. I forget what this thing is called. If I find it, I'll put a picture up on screen and maybe the name. This thing is supposed to be used as like a multi-gym thing where you do like push-ups on it and various exercises, but mainly it's a chin-up bar, and it's got like the neutral grip ones that stick out. You can go wide grip, close grip. It's gotten a ton of use. I mean, I've probably done thousands of pull-ups with this thing over the years. Again, I've had this one since I was in high school, so probably a similar amount of years that I had the bench press. And yeah, it's held up really well. Now the foam pieces that you're supposed to grip, those have kind of like not held up that well. They've ripped off, so I've had to put like clear tape over them. But I don't remember spending more than, oh, who knows, 30, 40, 50 bucks on it. Definitely didn't spend 100 on it, that's for sure. And so if you could probably get something similar. It's a style that one end is going here on the outside of the door frame, one side is up here on the inside of the room on the wall. So it's very secure. It's not one that's like a tension rod. You don't have to screw anything in or anything like that. So it's actually a really nice pull-up bar, I have to say. It's definitely up there. But yeah, as far as exercises that I can't do and why I have a gym membership now, well, in the small town that I live in, the gym is literally like less than a 10-minute walk. It's probably like a 7-minute walk to get to the gym. And the membership price is not too bad. It means I can use a leg press, I can use a pec fly machine. They've got one of those plate-loaded chest machines. They've got an adductor and abduction machine, so that's really nice. They've got all kinds of different dumbbells that go up way past my weight collection, so like 50, 60, 70s, all the way up to 120-pound dumbbells. So if I'm ever doing really heavy shrugs or dumbbell bench presses, it's really nice to have that much weight, and I don't have to buy that weight. They also have some very convenient, like 22.5, 27.5, 17.5 pound dumbbells. So if you're doing, if you're a big fan of the lateral raises like I am, it's really nice to have that 2.5 in between, because whether you realize it or not, going from 25 to 27.5 on a dumbbell, that's actually a 10% increase. It might not seem like it, but that's a fairly reasonable jump. So going from like 20 to 25, 25 to 30 on lateral raises or even curls can feel like a massive jump. So having all these things, even though it's not a ton of equipment, they also have a Roman chair for back extensions. I think that's what those are called. Yeah, like the 45-degree back extension chair. These are really convenient pieces of equipment, and I get a lot of use out of them. So if I do like 2 or 3 or 4 exercises at home earlier in the day, later in the evening, I can go to the gym and do another 2 or 3 or 4, however many exercises. So it's my day has a really nice flow to it with my early, like 6:30 a.m. workout. And then if I go in between clients, whether that's in the morning, afternoon, or late in the evening, if I push it off, I'm procrastinating my workout that day, then yeah, that can be a really good way to do it. So it's not that the home gym is the perfect way to get everything. Look, if you have the luxury of going to a gym, do it. It's not that expensive for a lot of people. The equipment versus cost thing, right? Like it's gonna be really worth it to get a gym membership. But that being said, the simple things like a bench press, squat rack, chin up bar, that's what a lot of this comes down to. And if you're someone who takes working out seriously, that you could foresee working out not only for a few years, but like decades of lifting, you might as well start building your home gym and then occasionally go to a gym if you can afford that luxury. But it's not like you need to be in a hurry to invest $2,000 or $5,000 in home gym equipment. I mean, $500 to $1,000 can get you pretty far. Not that many plates, but it at least can get you set up. $1,000 could at least get you a lot of like the basics. Set up your barbell, your squat rack, your bench press, some dumbbells, a bit of plates, but not a ton of weight. But to keep lifting as you get stronger and stronger, yeah, you're gonna need more plates, and that's gonna run up the cost a lot. And then there's the whole discussion of machines. Whether you want to invest in machines, probably the plate-loaded ones would make more sense, way more sense for the cost for a home gym. But that's not something I have a lot of experience in. I don't have a lot of research in as far as like the costs. But tell you what, if you really want to be well-rounded, having a gym membership is not the end of the world. The space that I use is maybe like 12 by 14 feet at the most. So it's not a huge space. This is mostly a gym setup, and then obviously the chin up. I can just use, you can use a chin up bar in whatever door frame is well set up for it. Anyways, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my home gym experience with you guys. As far as the total cost, I might put that up on screen if I feel like calculating what I think a rough estimate would be as far as what I've invested into it. I have to say 2 thumbs up for all the home gym equipment. Probably at least half or more of my exercises can be done at home. Some of them I'm currently doing at the gym that I don't have to be, like biceps curls, barbell curls I could even do here. For various reasons, I like doing them there. But either way, I feel like I'm getting a nice use out of my home gym equipment. If you're considering getting stuff, yeah, just go for it. Get the squat rack, get the bench, get some rings, right? I don't have rings, but rings are really good home gym equipment. So yeah, it's a good place to start. So hope you guys found that interesting and useful. And I'll see you guys in the next one.